Hello and welcome back to English Podcast Voice, the place where we break down English for you. I'm your host, Quinn.
And I'm Riley. Good to see you, everyone.
And it's so good to be here, because today we're tackling, I think, the single most frustrating feeling in all of language learning.
I think I know which one you mean.
It's that feeling, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you can understand everything. You're watching a movie, no subtitles, no problem. You read a complex article.
You get it.
You get it. Your passive knowledge is like super strong, maybe even C1 level. You feel really confident.
Right.
Then the moment someone asks you a question, the second you have to open your mouth and, respond in a meeting, everything just stops.
It's a total system crash. The blue screen of death for your brain.
That's it. You freeze up. You start feeling really self-conscious, and there's this little voice in your head that's just screaming, why can't I talk as fast as I can think?
Yeah.
You know you're smart. You know the words. But that delay, it can make you feel, I don't know, almost incompetent.
And that, right there, is the infamous intermediate plateau. It is not a knowledge problem.
Right.
It is a production problem. It's an activation problem. And that's what we're going deep on today.
So our mission is pretty ambitious. We're not just going to say practice more. We are going to dissect a full systematic protocol for getting that spontaneous fluency, and we're targeting two completely different systems, right?
Exactly. We're training the brain to cut down on cognitive load, and we're training the mouth, what we call the articulatory apparatus, to physically make the sounds faster.
The brain workout and the mouth workout. I love that.
It's a dual approach. You can't have one without the other. And just to keep you hooked for this deep dive, we're going to get into the real music of English later. We'll talk about prosody, connected speech, and we're going to set up a little pop quiz.
Oh, I love a quiz.
I'm going to play a very common phrase, I would have. And your challenge will be to identify the tiny, hidden, reduced sound inside it that native speakers use. It's a little linguistic treasure hunt.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I'm already listening for it.
Excellent. But before we get into all of that, we have to ask you for a quick favor.
Yes, it's that time. If you are ready to finally break through that plateau, please make sure you subscribe to English Podcast Voice right now.
And if you're already getting value, just tap that like button. It's a small thing for you, but it's, a huge thing for us. It helps us find more learners who are feeling stuck in that exact same spot.
All right. Housekeeping is done. Let's start the deep dive into achieving spontaneous fluency. So, Riley, before we get into the how, we have to define the what. What is true fluency, really? Is it just like knowing a ton of grammar rules?
That is the perfect place to start because that's the biggest misconception. People confuse fluency with accuracy.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure. Accuracy is about correctness. It's using the right grammar, having precise vocabulary, no mistakes. It's the technical side of the language.
The textbook stuff.
The textbook stuff, exactly. But fluency is all about flow. It's the ability to get your thoughts out immediately, clearly, and this is the most important part, without a lot of hesitation. It's about smooth delivery.
So wait, does that mean someone could actually make a few grammar mistakes but still be considered fluent?
Absolutely, 100%. If their speech flows naturally and they're communicating effectively without long, awkward pauses, they will be perceived as far more fluent than someone who speaks in perfect but very slow and halting sentences.
That's a huge mindset shift.
It is. We need to move from prioritizing perfection to prioritizing communication. I always use the driving analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Knowing all the rules of the road, knowing the speed limits, what every sign means, the mechanics of the engine, that's your passive knowledge. That's accuracy.
Right. I know what I'm supposed to do.
But fluency is actually driving the car without thinking about it. You're changing lanes, checking your mirrors, all while you're, planning your dinner in your head.
It's automatic.
It's automatic. The action is so deeply learned that it doesn't take up conscious thought. And that's the goal for your English production.
Which brings us right back to the core problem. That gap between the passive knowledge knowing the rules and the active production, actually driving the car. Why is it so hard to turn the key and go?
It comes down to two major bottlenecks in the system. First, there's a massive cognitive load on the brain.
A mental traffic jam.
A huge one. And second, there are very real physical limitations, what we call articulatory constraints. Your mouth literally can't keep up.
Let's stick with the cognitive load first. Can you paint a picture of what that actually feels like for, say, a B2 learner in a high-pressure situation?
Of course. Imagine you're in a business meeting. The conversation is moving fast, ideas are flying, and someone turns to you and asks a complex question.
Okay, I'm already stressed.
Right. And in that split second, your brain kicks into this horribly inefficient process. We call it the L1 translation trap.
L1 being your first language.
Exactly. So first, you formulate the perfect answer in your native language. Then, your brain starts searching for the right English grammar rules. Then, it translates your answer word by word. And only then do you actually try to speak.
And by that time, the conversation has moved on.
The moment is gone. And that whole process, that L1 mediation, is what spikes your cognitive load. You can almost feel the brain grinding to a halt. The speaker stops mid-sentence. They're looking up at the ceiling.
You're waiting for the translation to buffer.
You're literally waiting for the mental translation to finish. It results in that slow, choppy delivery. And honestly, it's exhausting.
Okay, so that's the problem. What is the solution? You used this word earlier, automatization. It sounds important.
It is the absolute key.
But I have to ask,
Hmm.
isn't that just a super fancy word for like making it automatic? What's the real difference?
That's a great clarifying question. And yes, it's more than just the end result. See, an automatic action could just be a reflex, but automatization is the process. It's the deliberate, conscious work you do to build that reflex.
Ah, okay. So it's not the destination, it's the journey.
It's the journey of neurological restructuring. You are literally building and strengthening neural pathways in your brain.
You're building a highway.
Exactly. Think of it this way. The first time you learn a new phrase, your brain is like a hiker trying to find a path through a dense, overgrown forest. It's slow, it takes a lot of energy, a lot of conscious effort, high cognitive load.
Okay, I'm with you.
Every time you use that phrase again quickly and correctly, you're clearing that path a little more. After hundreds of repetitions, you're no longer hacking through the jungle. You've built a paved, 6-lane superhighway.
And the thought just travels down it instantly.
With almost no energy. It becomes the brain's default route. That's automatization. It's moving a skill from the slow, analytical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, to the fast, intuitive parts.
That makes so much sense. Okay, let's do a deep dive on this word. Give me some examples of automatization in different contexts.
For sure. Let's do the 5-example drill. Formally, as we just discussed, it's about myelinating neural pathways. Myelin is like the insulation on an electrical wire. And the more you use a pathway, the more insulation it gets, and the faster the signal travels.
So that's the science. What's a really casual, everyday example?
Tying your shoes, or maybe making your morning coffee when you're still half asleep. You don't consciously think, okay, scoop the coffee, pour the water. Your body just does it. That's a fully automatized motor program.
I can relate to that one. How about a funny example?
A funny one. Maybe trying to pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time. At first, it's this impossible, jerky motion. But if you practice it enough, you can actually automatize the separate motor commands until it becomes smooth.
I'm going to be trying that later. What about a historical example?
I'd say military drills. For centuries, soldiers have drilled the same movements, loading a rifle, marching in formation over and over again. The goal is automatization so that under the extreme stress of battle, they don't have to think, they just act.
The action becomes a reflex.
Precisely. And for a philosophical example, I'd say it's the ultimate goal of mastery in any skill. A master musician isn't thinking about where to put her fingers on the instrument. The instrument has become an extension of her body. The technique is so automatized that she can focus purely on the emotion, on the music itself.
The tool becomes invisible.
The tool becomes invisible. That's the state we want for your English.
Okay, let's do a little role play. Let's say I'm trying to do a complex task before it's automatized.
Yeah.
Like giving directions to my house in English for the first time.
Okay, I'll be the person asking, hey, I'm a little lost. How do I get to your place from here?
Okay, you go straight. Yes. You go straight for 3 blocks. Then you will make a left, the left turn.
Okay, 3 blocks, then a left.
Yes. And after the left turn, you see a big store. It is red. You must go past this store. And my house is the 4th one after.
See, the hesitation, the searching for words, the self-correction.
It's painful. Now you do it, same directions, but you've given them 100 times. It's automatized.
Sure, just head straight for about 3 blocks, then hang a left. You'll see a big red store on the corner. Go right past that, and I'm the 4th house on your right. Can't miss it.
See? It's just one smooth chunk of information. No hesitation.
That's the difference. So when we talk about this, there are a few key collocations or word pairings you'll hear. People talk about achieving automatization.
Okay.
Or they'll say something has become an automatic response. And the physical side of this is often called muscle memory, which is a really important concept we'll get to.
But let me push back a little here. A common fear for learners is, if I focus so much on speed and automatization, won't I just be practicing and automating my own mistakes? Shouldn't I focus on being perfect first?
That is the million-dollar question. And the answer is yes, there is a risk. But the training has to shift. At the intermediate stage, you have to move away from slow analytical study and into high-volume, rapid-fire drills.
So what does that look like?
It means you're not trying to automate a single complex sentence. You're automating common patterns and chunks. You practice simple, correct sentence frames over and over until they come out as one unit.
Like, I should have. Or, I'm looking forward to.
Exactly. You drill those frames until they're instant. You'd build the speed and the rhythm first with reliable structures. Then, once the highway is built, you can start driving more complex, nuanced vehicles on it. Fluency first, then refine the accuracy.
Okay, phase one, the brain workout. How do we start tearing down that translation engine?
The absolute foundation is a technique we call visualization as a conceptual bridge.
Sounds cool. What is it?
You have to train your brain to stop doing this. English word, Mestel L1 translation, SCARE concept.
My brain's current slow method.
Right. The goal is to build a direct link. English word concept. The concept is an image, a feeling, a smell, a sound.
So when I hear the word apple.
You shouldn't see the word manzana or palma in your head.
Yeah.
You should see a red, round fruit. You should maybe even imagine the crisp sound of biting into it.
I'm bypassing the middleman.
You are cutting out the translator entirely. This forces English to build its own independent network in your brain. It's not leaning on your first language as a crutch anymore.
That makes sense in theory, but, how do you actually practice that? We need some concrete drills to train that inner voice.
Of course. This is done through what we call systematic mental immersion. You set aside specific, low-pressure times each day, start with just 5 minutes, to think only in English.
So fluency starts silently, in your own head.
It has to. That's the safest place to practice. We have 3 main drills for this. Drill number 1 is observe your surroundings.
Okay.
You just give a real-time English commentary on whatever you see. You're sitting on a bus, you think that woman is reading a book, the cover is blue, the bus is slowing down now, I think this is my stop.
It's like being a sportscaster for your own life.
Exactly. It forces immediate retrieval of everyday nouns, verbs, and adjectives. It turns passive seeing into active mental production.
I like that. What's drill number 2?
Picture description. You can use any image, a photo on your phone, a painting, whatever, and you just mentally describe it in as much detail as possible for, say, 2 minutes straight.
That seems a lot harder. It's more than just naming objects.
It is. It forces you to use more complex language. You have to use prepositions like, the man is standing behind the tree. You have to use interesting adjectives. The sky looks ominous. You have to guess at what's happening. He seems to be waiting for someone. It's a full narrative workout with zero pressure.
Okay, and the third drill.
This one is maybe the most powerful. It's the daily recap. At the end of your day, in bed, or while you're brushing your teeth, you mentally replay the day's events from start to finish in English.
Like a mental journal entry.
Exactly. First, I woke up and I made coffee. Then I checked my emails. My boss had sent me a message about, and so on.
Why is that one so valuable?
Because it's a massive, zero-stakes practice session for narrative tenses. You're drilling the past simple, the past continuous reported speech. All the tricky structures you need for storytelling, without the fear of making a mistake in a real conversation. You're rehearsing for tomorrow.
So to really make this stick, I assume we have to get rid of our L1 crutches.
100%. This means you have to commit to using monolingual resources.
An English-to-English dictionary.
Yes. And I know what people are thinking.
It's slow. It's hard. You look up a word and you don't understand the definition, so you have to look up a word in the definition.
And it feels like you're falling down a rabbit hole. I get it. It is harder in the short term. But every single time you use a bilingual dictionary, you are reinforcing that neural pathway back to your L1. You're strengthening the bad habit.
And every time you use a monolingual one, you're forced to stay inside the English framework.
You are strengthening the new highway. You're learning what a word means by its relationship to other English words, not by its relationship to your native language. It's a bit more effort up front for a massive payoff in retrieval speed later.
Okay, so the brain is getting rewired. Let's move to phase 2. The physical side. The mouth workout. Why are these articulatory constraints such a big deal?
Because speaking is a physical act. English uses a specific set of muscles in your face, lips, tongue, and jaw. And those movements are probably very different from the ones you use in your L1.
So my mouth is literally not in shape for English.
That's a perfect way to put it. If your mouth isn't trained, you physically cannot produce the sequences of sounds fast enough to be fluent. It's like trying to play a guitar concerto with cold, stiff fingers. The notes will be slow and clumsy.
We need to treat it like a real workout.
We do. You wouldn't run a marathon without training your legs.
Yeah.
So we need to start with some physical warm-ups for the mouth.
Like stretches before a run. What do those look like?
We focus on exaggerated movements to build flexibility and muscle memory. First, the jaw. Open your mouth as wide as you can, like you're yawning, and hold it for 5 seconds. Then, purse your lips into a tight pout, a duck face, and hold that. Repeat that a few times.
Okay, I'm doing it now. It feels a little silly, but I can actually feel the stretch.
It works. Next, the tongue. Your tongue is incredibly important. You need to stretch it out as far as it can go, then up towards your nose, then down towards your chin, then side to side.
The full range of motion.
Exactly. And finally, you practice the long vowel sounds with extreme exaggeration. Hold each one for like 3 seconds. E, I, E, ooh.
It's like vocal gymnastics.
It is. And this all forces you to enunciate clearly, which brings us to a key vocabulary word for this section, enunciate.
Okay, so when we say enunciate, is that just about speaking more loudly?
Not at all. To enunciate is to pronounce words clearly and distinctly. The focus is on precision, not volume. It's about shaping every single sound so that it can be understood, making sure your T sounds are crisp and your E sounds don't sound like shh.
It's the opposite of mumbling.
It's the mortal enemy of mumbling. Let's do a deep dive. To enunciate. A formal example would be, a news anchor must enunciate every word perfectly for the broadcast.
Right, clarity is their job.
A casual example. Sorry, I couldn't understand you. You need to enunciate when you have food in your mouth.
A funny one.
Tongue twisters are basically enunciation boot camp. They force you to enunciate, or you just end up making nonsense sounds.
A historical example.
Think of great orators from the past, like Winston Churchill or Martin Luther King Jr. Their power came not just from their words, but from their incredibly clear and forceful enunciation.
Every syllable landed with impact.
Exactly. And a philosophical example. You could say that true communication requires us to enunciate our thoughts clearly, not just speak them. We have a responsibility to be understood.
So let's do a little role play. Imagine I'm mumbling a tongue twister.
Okay, give it a shot.
Mumbling, she shells by seashore.
See, it's just a mess of she sounds. Now let's try a mini skit focusing on forcing clarity. I'll be a speech coach.
Okay.
All right, I want you to say this for me. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, but I want you to over-enunciate. Exaggerate every P.
Peter P. Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Better. I want to feel a puff of hair on my hand from each P. Again.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's it. That's the muscle engagement we're looking for. Common collocations here are things like clear enunciation or precise enunciation, and a difficult task forces you to enunciate.
So beyond the warm-ups, we need specific drills. Tongue twisters seem to be the main event.
They are the perfect tool. They're like obstacle courses for your mouth. But the key is to start slow. Focus on perfect articulation first, then slowly build up speed.
So with she sells seashells by the seashore, I should really focus on the difference between the is and the she sound.
You have to. For the is sound, your tongue is forward and the air is a tight hiss. For the she sound, your lips are rounded and the air is a wider, softer whoosh. They are physically very different. That tongue twister trains your mouth to switch between those two positions instantly.
And something like Peter Piper is for the plosive sounds, the P and B.
Yes, training the lips to create that little explosion of air correctly every time.
What about when it's not a tricky sound, but just a long, complicated word? I still sometimes stumble over a word like creativity.
Yeah, multisyllable words are a challenge. The best technique for that is to break it down and practice it backward. From the last syllable to the first. So for creativity, you'd start with just the end.
So, idity.
Right. Now add the one before it.
Miggity.
Good. Keep going.
Bibbity.
Normativity.
You're almost there.
Witty-ativity. Creativity. Wow.
See? By building it from the back, you master each transition before you add another one. It stops your tongue from getting tangled up in the middle. It's a fantastic trick. That's a great hack. What about another tool I hear about, minimal pairs?
Minimal pairs are essential for fine-tuning your ear and your mouth. They are two words that are different by only one single sound.
Like ship and sheep.
The classic example. That pair forces you to master the difference between the short vowel as in ship and the long vowel I as in sheep. For many learners, those two sounds are really hard to distinguish
And to produce.
and to produce. Another crucial one is ban versus van. It trains the difference between the B, where your lips stop the air completely, and the V, where your top teeth touch your bottom lip and the air flows with friction.
So by practicing them back to back, ban, van, 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 you're drilling that one specific tiny muscular movement until it becomes automatic.
You've got it. You're isolating the variable and training it to perfection.
Okay, so we've rewired the brain. We've sent the mouth to the gym. Now we need to put it all together. Phase 3, the music. Prosody.
Yes. Prosody. The rhythm, the stress, the intonation. This is what makes your English sound like English. If your prosody is off, even with perfect grammar and pronunciation, you will still sound, well, you'll sound like a robot.
Halting and unnatural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's because English is what we call a stressed timed language. This is probably the single biggest concept for intermediate learners to grasp.
Can you break that down? What's the difference between a stress-timed language and, say, a syllable-timed one?
Sure. In a syllable timed language, like Spanish or French, every syllable gets roughly the same amount of time. The sentence, I want to go to the store, would have 7 equal beats. Da 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 da.
Yep.
But English doesn't work like that. The rhythm of English is based on the stressed syllables. The important words, the nouns, the main verbs, the adjectives get the stress. They're longer, louder, and higher in pitch.
And the other words.
The unimportant little function words, like to, the A, they get crushed. They are spoken very quickly and softly in between the stressed beats.
So our example sentence.
I want to go to the store. It only has 2 main beats. Da 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 da. The rhythm is defined by go and store. Everything else is just rush to get to the next beat.
And the secret to rushing those little words is the most common sound in English.
The schwa sound, spelled S-C-H-W-A, and the phonetic symbol is like a upside-down E.
The sound.
It's the ultimate lazy vowel sound. It's the sound your mouth makes when it's completely relaxed. And it's the key to the English rhythm. The vowel in unstressed syllables almost always reduces to a schwa.
So in a word like problem,
It's not problem, it's problem. The E becomes a schwa. And again, it's not again, it's again. If you try to pronounce every vowel perfectly, you will destroy the rhythm and sound very unnatural.
so how do we practice feeling this rhythm? It's not something you can just learn from a book.
You're right, you have to feel it physically. We recommend 2 activities. The first is the movement activity. You just clap or snap your fingers or tap the table, but only on the stressed syllables.
So for the cat sat on the mat, I would only tap on cat and mat.
Exactly. It connects the sound to a physical action. It makes the rhythm tangible.
And the second activity.
This one's a bit more advanced but super effective. The bouncing ball activity. You actually take a small ball and bounce it on the stressed syllables of a sentence.
How does that help?
It forces you to time your speech. You have to stretch out the stressed word a little so you can say it right as the ball hits the ground, and then you have to say all the little unstressed words really fast while the ball is in the air. It physically trains you to maintain that regular beat.
Wow, that's a really cool idea. Now, this rhythm is built on chunks of words, not just single words, which brings us to collocations.
Yes, collocations.
So why is it that if I say big rain, everyone knows what I mean, but it just sounds wrong?
It sounds wrong because fluent speech is built on predictable partnerships. We don't think heavy and then rain. Our brains have stored the chunk heavy rain as a single unit.
Like one vocabulary item.
Exactly. When you say big rain, you're breaking that expected pattern. You're translating word for word from your native language, where the equivalent of big might be the natural partner for rain, but in English, it's not.
And when you break that pattern, the speech sounds unnatural and, what's that word you used? Stilted.
Precisely. Let's do a deep dive on stilted.
Is being stilted the same as just being slow?
Not exactly. Slow speech can still be fluent. Stilted speech is stiff, formal, and unnatural. It sounds like someone is reading from a very old textbook, or like they're carefully constructing every sentence word by painful word. There's no natural flow.
That's robotic.
Very robotic. For a formal example, you could say the diplomat's stilted speech failed to connect with the audience.
Okay, a casual one.
If you wrote a text message to your friend like, I would like to formally inquire if you are available for a social engagement this evening, they would say, why do you sound so stilted? Just say, you free tonight.
Right. How about a funny example?
Imagine a robot trying to tell a joke. Query: why did the chicken traverse the roadway? Answer: to arrive at the opposite side. The delivery is technically correct, but completely stilted and humorless.
A historical example of stilted language.
You could look at very old, formal letters from the 19th century. The language is grammatically perfect, but feels incredibly stiff and stilted to our modern ears.
And a philosophical take.
You could argue that stilted language is language that lacks a human heart. It's technically correct, but fails to create a genuine connection because the listener can sense the artificiality.
Okay, let's role play this. You be the stilted speaker trying to make a decision.
Okay. After careful consideration of all available options, I have determined that I must now perform the action of making a decision.
Wow, that is painful. Now, how would a fluent speaker say it?
Okay, I've weighed the options, time to make a decision. Or just, all right, I've got to decide.
It's just so much more direct and natural. So common phrases would be stilted conversation or stilted dialogue, and someone can sound stilted.
You got it. So, to avoid sounding stilted, we need to internalize these collocations. What's a good way to practice that?
You can't just memorize lists.
No, that's not very effective. One great technique is repetitive storytelling. You take a short, simple story, like what you did last weekend, and you tell it out loud 3 or 4 times in a row.
Why does that help?
Because the first time, you'll be searching for words. By the third time, the necessary collocations like had a great time, met up with friends, slept in late, will start to come out automatically as complete chunks. You're training rapid activation.
And the other method?
Contextual recording. When you learn a new word, never, ever write it down by itself. Write it down in a phrase in its natural partnership. Don't just learn decision. Learn make a decision, a tough decision, reach a decision.
You learn the whole family, not just the individual person.
That's a great way to put it. You're learning the word's social network.
Okay. Now we have to talk about how native speakers actually talk, this real talk or connected speech.
Yes. To do this, we have to dissect the language.
Why do you keep using that word dissect? It sounds so clinical.
Because that's what we're doing. To dissect something means to take a complex system apart, piece by piece, to understand exactly how it works. And that's what we have to do with fluent speech. We can't just look at the outside, we have to see the internal mechanics.
So a formal example would be a scientist dissecting a frog to learn anatomy.
Right. A casual example would be, let's dissect that movie plot. I'm so confused about the ending.
Funny example. We spent an hour dissecting why my date was so awkward.
A historical example. Lawyers had to carefully dissect the new treaty to understand its implications.
And philosophical.
To truly know yourself, you must be willing to dissect your own motivations and fears.
Okay, so common phrases. Dissect an argument, dissect a sentence, careful dissection.
Exactly. So now let's dissect the 3 core rules of real talk.
Rule number 1.
Dropping and reduction. Native speakers are efficient. We drop sounds to speak faster. The biggest example is with modal verbs plus have.
Like should've becomes should've.
And it sounds like should've, the H is gone, and the A vowel reduces to a schwa. I could have gone becomes I could have gone. I could have gone.
And things like going to becoming gonna.
Or want to becoming wanna. If you pronounce every sound I want to go, you sound stilted. A native speaker will almost always say I want to go. It's essential for the rhythm.
Okay, what's rule number 2?
Connecting and linking. We don't speak word by word. We link them together into smooth chains. The most common is linking a word that ends in a consonant to a word that starts with a vowel.
Give me an example.
Take the phrase an apple. We don't say an apple. The N sound from N attaches to the A in apple. It sounds like one word, an apple.
Okay.
And the king of linking in American English is the flap T rule.
I've heard of this. It's when a T sound becomes a D sound.
A very light sound, yes.
Yeah.
It happens when a T is between 2 vowel sounds. So the word water becomes water, and in a phrase, I got a ticket, becomes I go to ticket. It's all about creating a smoother, faster flow.
So if I say go to the store, it sounds like go to store.
You've got it. Not mastering that is a huge reason why learners sound choppy. And finally, rule number 3.
Adding sounds.
Adding or intrusive linking. Sometimes, to prevent a clumsy pause between two vowel sounds, we insert a tiny extra sound to bridge the gap.
Like what?
Between going on, we might add a tiny W sound, going on. Or between I agree, we might add a tiny D sound. I agree. It's not in the spelling, but it's there in the sound just to keep everything smooth.
Okay, mind blown. So we have all these brain rules and mouth rules. We need a way to practice them all at the same time.
And that brings us to phase 4, the ultimate integration tool, shadowing.
Define it for us again very clearly. What is shadowing?
Shadowing is repeating what a speaker says out loud almost at the exact same time as them. You are their echo, just a split second behind. It is not listen, pause, repeat. It's simultaneous.
Why is that simultaneous part so important? Why is it better than just pausing and repeating?
Because it creates a unique kind of cognitive pressure. Your brain is forced to listen, process the sound, and produce the sound all at once. There is simply no time to stop and translate into your L1. It short-circuits the bad habit.
It's a fluency hack.
It's the best one there is. It has 3 massive benefits. 1, it's an intense workout for your mouth muscles, improving pronunciation. 2, it trains your ear to catch all those connected speech patterns we just talked about. And 3, it trains your brain to process and produce at native-like speed. It builds automatization.
Okay, but it sounds really hard. If I just jump in, I'm going to get frustrated and quit.
Yeah.
We need a step-by-step strategy.
A very structured approach is key. Here's a 5-step plan. Step 1, listen first. Just listen.
No speak.
No speaking. Take a short audio clip, maybe 30 seconds, and listen to it 2 or 3 times. Focus only on the prosody. Where are the pauses? Where does the pitch go up? Where's the rhythm?
You're learning the music before you try to sing the words.
Perfect analogy. Step 2, use the transcript. Read along while you listen, and I want you to literally mark it up. Get a pen, circle the stressed words, draw little arcs connecting the linked words. Right, schwa over the reduced vowels.
So you're creating a visual map of the sound.
Exactly. You're connecting what you hear to what you see. Step 3, start shadowing. Now you echo the speaker, just a split second behind. You are going to make mistakes. You will stumble. That is part of the process. The goal is not perfection, it's flow.
And trying and failing is part of the muscle training.
Absolutely. Which brings us to step 4. Repeat the same clip. This is so important. Do the same 30-second clip over and over. You'll be amazed how much smoother you get by the 3rd or 4th try. That's muscle memory kicking in.
Okay, and the final step.
Step 5. Record yourself. This is optional but highly recommended. Record your best attempt and then listen to it back-to-back with the original audio.
Oof, that's brave.
It can be painful, but it's also the best way to get objective feedback. You'll hear exactly where your rhythm is off or where you forgot to link the words. It's how you track your progress.
Okay, so where do we find good material for this? We need audio with a transcript.
Authentic material is best. TED Talks are fantastic. They're short, the speakers are usually very clear, and they almost always have high-quality interactive transcripts.
Good resource.
The Moth is another great one. It's a storytelling podcast, so you get very natural, emotional, rhythmic speech. Also great for prosody.
And for something a little easier.
For a gentler start, the BBC's 6-Minute English is perfect. It's designed for learners, spoken clearly, and always comes with a transcript and vocabulary. VOA Learning English is also great for this.
So we have the technique. What about the tools for daily practice? Let's talk about technology. Can an AI tutor really help me get fluent?
It can help you build the foundation in a way a human can't. The biggest advantage of an AI tutor app is the sheer volume of practice you can get.
High volume repetition.
Exactly. It's available 24/7. There's no scheduling, no feeling embarrassed. You can practice the same difficult sentence 50 times in a row if you want, and the AI will never get bored or judgmental.
And it gives you feedback, right?
Instant objective feedback. It will score your pronunciation, your pace, your pauses, your grammar. It's an incredible tool for building that muscle memory and automatizing your speech patterns.
So just 15-20 minutes a day with an app can make a real difference.
A huge difference in the mechanical side of fluency, but
it can't replace a real person.
It can't. A human tutor, a paid professional, is essential for high-level nuance. They can give you personalized feedback on your tone, explain cultural context, and help you prepare for very specific situations like a job interview. AI isn't there yet.
And what about a language exchange partner? The free option.
A language partner is crucial for something else. Spontaneity. They train you to think on your feet. You can't predict what they're going to ask you. That pressure to respond in real time is the best way to force your passive knowledge into active use.
So the ideal plan is a mix of all 3.
It's a 3-legged stool. AI for high-volume mechanical practice, a human tutor for nuance and specific goals, and a language partner for spontaneous real-world practice.
That makes a lot of sense. So to wrap this section up, let's connect it back to the beginning, the brain. How can we make our daily listening, like listening to this deep dive, more active?
Great question. 5 quick tips. 1, find your Goldilocks podcast. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. You should understand about 80–90% of it.
That 10% gap is where the learning happens.
Exactly. 2, listen actively for what I call Category 2 words.
What are those?
Those are the words and phrases you understand perfectly when you hear them, but you never, ever use them yourself. Your mission is to hunt for those words and consciously try to move them into your active vocabulary.
I have so many of those.
We all do. 3, don't be afraid to slow it down. Use the playback speed setting. Listening at 0.75x speed can give your brain the extra processing time it needs to decode that tricky connected speech.
Good tip.
4, listen with the transcript whenever you can. Seeing and hearing at the same time creates a much stronger memory. And 5, and this is non-negotiable, write it down.
You have to capture the new language.
If you don't write down a new word or phrase, the chance of you remembering and using it is almost 0. Put it in a notebook, a flashcard app, a collocation journal. You have to interact with it to make it yours.
Fantastic advice. Okay, I think it's time for our common mistake segment.
Let's do it.
Based on everything we've talked about with reduction and connected speech, let me ask you about a sentence I hear a lot. Can I say, I should have gone to the party?
Ah, the classic should of. So that is a writing mistake that comes directly from listening to fluent speech.
So what's the correction?
The correct structure is the modal verb should plus the auxiliary verb have, I should have gone. But as we discussed in fluent speech, we contract it to should have, and it sounds like should have. People hear of and they write of. But grammatically, it's always have.
So knowing the grammar helps you understand the reduction.
They have to work together. Accuracy and fluency.
Okay, mistake number 2. I try to talk about the weather and I say, wow, a really big rain fell today. My native speaking friend smiles a little. What did I do wrong?
That is a perfect collocation mistake. Big is a correct adjective. Rain is a correct noun, but they are not natural partners in English.
So what's the natural chunk?
The natural collocation is heavy rain. We always talk about heavy rain or light rain, not big or small rain. This shows why you have to learn words in chunks, not in isolation.
Got it. Heavy rain. Okay, final mistake, and this is about the flap T. I'm trying to speak very clearly, so I say, I want to go to the dot game. Is that wrong?
It's not grammatically wrong, but it is fluently wrong. It sounds very stilted.
Because I'm breaking the rhythm.
You're breaking the rhythm. You're fighting against the natural linking of American English. A native speaker would link those words together, and the flap T rule would turn into doth the. The fluent version is, I want to go doth the game.
So being too clear can actually make you sound less fluent.
In this case, yes. You have to embrace the messy, efficient, connected nature of real spoken English.
All right, that was super clear. I think it's time for the pop quiz you promised at the beginning.
It is. Time to test your ears. I am going to say the phrase, I would have known. First, slowly and clearly, then fluently and contracted. Your job, and your job listening at home, is to identify the key consonant sound that disappears in the fluent version.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm listening for the drop.
Okay, version 1, slowly. I would have known. Now, version 2, fluently. I would have known. One more time. I would have known. So, what disappeared?
It's the H sound.
Yeah.
The H in have just vanishes completely. And the vowel changes, too. It's not have, it's UV, would have.
You nailed it. That silent H, that reduction to a schwa sound. That is the secret ingredient of fluent speech. And now you know how to listen for it.
That was a great test. Okay, we have covered so much ground. Let's try to summarize the top 3 big ideas from today.
I'd say number 1 is automatization. The goal is to build that neural superhighway to move your knowledge from passive to active.
Number 2.
Mastering prosody and the schwa sound. You have to feel the stress-timed rhythm of English and use that lazy sound to make it happen.
And number 3.
Practicing connected speech and shadowing. Shadowing is the master technique that pulls everything together. The brain, the mouth, and the music.
Perfect. And what are the top 5 words and phrases that everyone should take away from this deep dive?
Okay, our top 5 are, number 1, stilted. Now you have a precise word to describe speech that sounds unnatural and robotic.
Number 2.
Enunciate. To focus on the physical act of clear, precise pronunciation.
3.
Cognitive load. To understand the mental traffic jam created by translation that we need to eliminate.
Better.
Collocations. Remembering to learn words in their natural partnerships, like heavy rain.
And number 5.
The shadowing technique. That powerful echo practice for integrating all your skills at once.
Excellent. Before we go, we always like to leave our listeners with a small, actionable micro-challenge. Yes. So your challenge for today is to activate phase 1. I want you to try the visualization technique for just 5 minutes. That's it. Set a timer on your phone.
5 minutes. Anyone can do that.
For the next 5 minutes, as you're washing the dishes or walking to your car, I want you to mentally describe everything you see and do in English, but focus on the image, the concept. Force that direct link. No translation allowed.
A 5-minute inner voice workout. I love it.
It's a small step, but it's the beginning of rewiring your brain.
What a powerful place to end. We really hope this deep dive gives you a clear, systematic path forward to break through that intermediate plateau.
Remember, it's a dual workout for the brain and the mouth. Consistency is everything.
And if you found this breakdown helpful, please do us that one last favor and make sure you're subscribed to English Podcast Voice.
We have new deep dives coming every week to help you on your fluency journey.
I'm Quinn. See you next time.
And I'm Riley. Keep up the great work.